So today's video, we're going to talk about building a 5-figure coloring book brand through Amazon KDP. So as you can see through my account here, just the coloring books have been selected from my publishing business, generating over $107,000 primarily in the last couple of years. And as you can see from the chart below, primarily through Q4. So we'll talk about that and the importance of Q4 as we go through this video. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Chris. I've been self-publishing for over 10 years. I'm also the founder of Raydog KDP, which is a service that we're offering, which allows independent publishers to check out my courses, my strategies, get on board with weekly coaching calls, get direct feedback on their publishing business, etc., etc. If you're interested in checking that out, it's going to be linked below, chrisraydog.com. So let's talk about building a successful coloring book brand through KDP. So fundamentally, 95% of people publishing coloring books, from what I've seen anyway, is people are settling for a very shit or average offering in the marketplace. So it is mega important before you start running advertising campaigns, i.e. getting more views to your book. It is so important that you understand that what is being offered on the left-hand side here is nowhere near as good as what is being offered on the right-hand side. So granted, this is Cocoa Wow, I get it, and everyone uses Cocoa Wow as an example. They're an exceptional case, but you need to be shooting for that level of quality if you're going to have success on Amazon. So getting to this stage is not as hard as you think. I'm not at this stage myself yet. I'm kind of a little bit behind, which is good enough. But the thing is, you definitely cannot settle for this. You always have to be pushing for 5 to 10% better from what you've just published. So the pain point here is just not knowing when your offering is going to be good enough. So how do we actually start creating better coloring books? So this is one of the things where you can just keep doing it forever and eventually you're going to get better at it through virtue of time. But what I recommend that people do is to understand what coloring book customers actively like. So in this case, you can join coloring book Facebook groups and see what people like, see what they don't like. And outside of that, you can also look toward people who are successfully publishing coloring books on Amazon and get feedback from them, which is why I've set up the Discord group, which is part of the membership. You can join that for free and start getting feedback from other successful publishers as well. But it is a super important bottleneck that we have to clear before we do anything else with our publishing journey. So this quality is going to be dictated by your skill set and budget for content creation. Now, in my opinion, there are 3 options that you have for content creation for your coloring books, and you have to get them right. Because if you don't, you're going to end up creating something that people do not want. And this is something people do all the time. Option 1, you have to have a budget. If you are going to outsource your illustrations, you have to have a decent budget. If you're going to go for this kind of premium hand-drawn pursuit, it's going to cost you money, and you have to accept that. If you do not have the money to do that, then you cannot create these type of books. So option number 2, which is becoming more and more viable for a lot of people with a lower budget who have more time, is to use AI to create the content for your book. And then when you create content for your book with AI, you can actually have more books being released, which gives you a higher chance of making sales. But what a lot of people are doing, 90+% of publishers using AI, is that they're just rushing books out to be published. They're not learning different prompts, they're not cleaning their images, then they're ending up with 1-star reviews, etc., etc. So if you're going to go down the AI route, it's going to take you some time to learn how to actually do it. But I'm not interested in the moral discussion when it comes to AI. It's here to stay. Everyone has to accept that, and we have to adapt, adjust, and accept that it is going to be a part of publishing going forward. And there's option number 3, if you have a low budget and you don't have much time. In this case, you can look toward asset packs, and for me, this is kind of a beginner's pursuit, but it's very, very viable when it comes to creating more books, more coloring books, and just starting things off. And then there's option number 3, if you have a low budget and no time, then asset packs can be a good entry into creating a coloring book brand. It obviously allows you to create books much, much quicker. So you need to consider which option is viable for you. So in my opinion, there are going to be downsides to every pursuit here. If you're going to outsource illustrations, obviously it's going to be more expensive than the other 2 pursuits. If you're going to use AI, obviously that's going to take you some time to learn how to actually use AI correctly. Then if you're going to use asset packs, of course, you're going to be somewhat limited to your creativity with those asset packs. So once you've understood what a quality offering is, and then you've established how you're going to create that quality offering, it is then super important that we become first, different, or better with every single coloring book that we upload. So when it comes to being first, different, or better, let's talk about how we can achieve that. So what you're going to find at the moment is, especially if you're doing the whole bold and easy coloring books, which are super popular at the moment, everyone has showcased these on YouTube, everyone knows about them, everyone wants a piece of them. What you're going to notice is that every new release looks the same. Like, there are some people who are doing very well by creating something different or better, or being first into a niche, but for the most part, again, 90+% of people are doing the same books. Even if they look quite good, it's the same as everyone else, and it's not better, and it's not different, and it's not first. So that's what we want to avoid, is falling into this category. So how can we actually be better in this case? So in my opinion, being better can come down to creating a better book cover. Now, what you're going to find with a lot of coloring books is that it's really hard to create a better book cover because there's so many being published. And if you're going to do this, you need to find niches where you can actually create a better book cover than what is being offered already. So second to that, we can look at taking a unique angle to the niche, or being creative and taking a risk which would allow us to be first. So in terms of a unique angle here, obviously these are my 2-second book covers that I've created in Canva just to use as an example. But when it comes to a unique angle to a niche here, now what you can see for bold and easy coloring books is that there's tons of these food and snack coloring books. Now, if you can't create a better book cover than what exists already, or a better offering than what exists already, you can take a unique angle to that niche. So for example, instead of doing foods and snacks, you could look at creating something like spicy foods and snacks, or something like that. It's a terrible example, but it's just taking a unique angle on an existing niche. Now, when it comes to being creative, this was just more so for my reference of an idea that I had myself. Taking a risk, being creative, allows you to become first into the niche. So in this case, for example, with a bold and easy type of coloring book, what I had in mind, but I didn't actually go through with pursuing this, is to create this kind of bold and easy coloring book that goes through the life stages of someone from birth to getting married to etc, etc, etc. But after outsourcing a couple of these pages, I realized it's actually not viable. But the thought was there of creating something and being first into the niche. Obviously there's a risk that nobody wants it, but of course there's the potential reward of being the very first. So one of the things that I'm doing inside the Raydog membership is creating a new coloring book brand and showcasing it from start to finish. So on Friday we had a live call where I showed off the first book of this brand. It's a bold and easy coloring book. We spoke about the angle that I was taking with it, the niche research that went behind it, the title creation, etc, etc, and of course the type of advertising campaigns we're running to this as well, and of course the early day results. So 22 orders from ads and around 30 orders in total. So if you're interested in following the journey of this coloring book brand, or if you want to watch the replays where I've showcased the books that go into this brand, or if you're interested in the weekly live calls going forward, or the course content, or the weekly coaching calls, or the private pro sellers room, or everything else that goes into this membership, feel free to check this out from the description below. We have a free option as well for those that just want to see what everything's about. Again, everything is in the description below. So this brings you on to a more long-term pursuit, but that is building a website and capturing emails. So I don't think this is a priority for most of us, but it is a good long-term pursuit here. So for the sake of transparency, I'm using ActiveCampaign for my main brand to hold emails. So what's happening here is that you'll create a website and then you're going to offer something for free at the end of your book. So someone is going to complete your book. They're going to love it so much. They're going to see this free offer of 20 to 40 or 50 free pages that they can print off and color. They're going to do that. They're going to type their email address in so they can get access to it. And then you're going to collect their email so that you can promote to them in future. There's a specific way of doing this. I'm going to look to create course content for this, but that is what I'm doing. And it's super helpful when it comes to launching your books, because it allows you to promote your book as soon as you release it, which gives you that kind of early push with sales. But this, in my opinion, is something that you're looking to build over the course of like 1 to 2 to 3 years. So whilst it's not a priority, you kind of want to get started with this as soon as possible. So that's going to lead me on to something that I feel is super important, and that is launching and testing your book. So I want to kind of explain the cycle that I'm going through here when it comes to launching and testing books. So the cycle that we're going through, and this is what most successful independent publishers are doing, especially with coloring books, which are in competitive niches, is that of course we create the book and then we move on to launching that book with an advertising budget. What your advertising budget is probably going to be different to mine. Mine is around $100 to $150 per book per launch. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you have to do that yourself. You have to advertise with a budget that you are comfortable with. But ultimately, what we're doing is testing to see how our book is being received in the marketplace, because during this kind of first 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks of your book going live, you are going to get a lot of visibility with this kind of prioritized honeymoon period that Amazon gives you, plus your advertising campaigns as well. You're going to get a ton of visibility here, which should allow you to make a decision on your project. So this decision for me is based off of a few different factors, such as, am I getting any organic sales? Do I have rankings for keywords that I want to get ranked for, and other metrics inside of my ads account? So we make that decision here if we want to carry on with the project. Carrying on with the project is a completely different matter, but stopping the project is just important as well. And then once we've done that, we move on and we create a new book. Because like I said a million times before on this channel, people get way too attached to 1 or 2 different books, end up spending tons of money on ads because they love the books so much, and ultimately end up failing and then losing a ton of money and then quitting publishing and then complaining. That moves me on to talking about what I think is a mega important factor here, and that is the publishing cycle. Because you have to create books in order to make sales, but you shouldn't be creating so many books that the quality is diminishing. Okay, so this is what I'm calling the publishing cycle, because what I've noticed that people do is they see that there's a YouTuber like myself who has 50, 60, 70, 100 books, 2,000 books, whatever amount, and then they rush to create that number of books. So for perspective, what I'm doing to kind of get the best of both worlds here, where I'm always producing more books, but I'm also working on a bigger, ambitious project at the same time. So what I'm doing every single month, pretty much between 1 and 2 books here, is I'm creating these cheaper, more frequent publications. So at the moment, that is those bold and easy coloring books, because they're super easy to make. And of course, the potential to make money with them is quite large at the moment. Very competitive, but this is the kind of pursuit I'm going for, because like I said, production cost is much lower. So we're producing 1 of these or 2 of these every single month, just because they're so easy to produce. And then working alongside that in the background, we have kind of a bigger ambitious project. So my bigger ambitious projects are the quantity of 2 at the moment in my lifetime. So these take much longer, up to 6 months, 3 months probably at the moment, if I really actually pursue these the way that I should be. So we're looking at every 3 months to have a bigger project. Now my bigger projects have made me a lot of money, but at the same time we can't rely on creating 1 or 2 massive projects that we've put a ton of time into, because there is still a massive risk that it won't work out for us and we've just wasted all this time. So it is good to have these kind of projects working in the background, which can make you more than your bigger projects 100%. But this is just the kind of way that I make sure that I'm covering the best of both worlds. So this can actually work for people that are not sure how to create their content either, because what I found is people don't know, should I hire someone, should I use AI, or should I use an asset pack? So what you can be doing, let's say, instead of having a bigger ambitious project here, what you can have in this case is a hand-drawn project, because it's a more expensive pursuit and you want to just test it. You want to see how this works out for you. You want to test your designers. You can do this hand-drawn pursuit over the course of 3 months. And then in the background, what you could be doing is creating 1 or 2 books with asset packs or AI, again, to get the best of both worlds. And again, the same could be said if you're trying to learn AI. Your AI pursuits could be your more ambitious project, and this period is you learning and just publishing maybe 1 of them, whilst you have your hand-drawn pursuits or your AI pursuits over as your more frequent publications. Hopefully that makes sense. So here's another kind of issue that we need to be aware of. It's not to necessarily believe it's easy based off of exceptional cases. So when you look on YouTube, you probably find people showcasing Coco Wyo and using that as the kind of benchmark of success, which is strange because nobody really knows what Coco Wyo's budget is. I'd imagine it's very, very, very high. They have a big social media following. They probably have people dedicated to doing TikTok videos, very experienced and high quality illustrators, and a lot of advertising spend. This is the highest quality that you can imagine. And for most of us, it's not realistic to hit those levels anytime soon, right? So this is like the most premium level that you can expect, but at a good to premium level, we can have a ton of success. So we don't have to be the Coco Wyos of this world, but we do have to be good when it comes to coloring books. So what I would expect is that around 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 books to stick around. So what I spoke about the other week in one of my videos is that if you are publishing books and they're not necessarily making the sales that you want, these investments can typically be made back over time and during Q4. It's a very real thing. Like I have maybe 1 in 4, 5 or 6 of my books that are successful, let's just say, and then a couple that are just okay, and then a couple more that are just really bad. But even those really bad ones over time, especially if you have like your A+ content stuff linked together, over time during Q4 especially, you can recoup a lot of your investments. It doesn't mean you'll make all your money back, but it's not as terrible as it sounds. And that's the importance of publishing throughout the year and making sure that we are here for Q4, because like I said at the start of this video, which you would have seen, is that Q4 is huge for these gifty products, which is why you need to be ready for Q4. And one thing that I use an example for everyone watching my videos and everyone that I talk to inside the membership, all top independent publishers have failed books. You look at Coco Wyo, they've got books that are ranked in the millions as well. So if books are failing for them, they are definitely going to fail for us. So you have to expect this to happen. You have to operate around this failure percentage. Now, I know some people watching this will say, I've got 100 books and they've all failed. You're doing something very wrong. That's why. So the majority of my coloring book income comes from Q4, so October, November and December. So what I recommend is that you have books not at the pursuit of losing quality, but you have books ready come September, October, the latest, to capitalize on Q4, because you can expect to make 4 to 5 times the amount that you were making before with your books come these periods here, especially in the middle of December, where things go absolutely crazy, obviously because of Christmas. And like you would have seen at the start of the video, the vast majority of my sales, or at least half of the sales over the course of the year, are coming through Q4. So it's super, super powerful. And the thing is, at the moment in August, a lot of people's advertising campaigns are sucking. Their organic sales are sucking. Like, this is just part of the game. August in particular is always very bad for me, and September as well. But this is the calm before the Q4 storm, and we have to be ready for that. So that's it for this video. If you're interested in joining other successful sellers and other independent publishers, you can join the Discord group for free, where you can discuss things with other people and myself included. If you want to check out the pro seller options or the master seller options for the membership, feel free to do that at chrisraydog.com as well. But that's it for this video. I'll see you very soon.